Thanks for joining us on another edition of the Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick.
Hey everyone, welcome into another episode of the Small Business Show right here at ASBN.com. I'm Jim Fitzpatrick. In a world where AI and constant algorithm changes make it harder than ever for small businesses to stand out, one thing still matters, and that matters the most, which is trust. Our guest today knows this better than anyone. Scott Baradell is the founder of Trust Signals Marketing and author of Trust Signals, Brand Building in a Post-Truth World. He's also runs a number of businesses, but is also a specialist in this area of trust. And that's why we wanted to bring him in today. So Scott, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Sure. So boy, the word trust, when you hear that today, Scott, right, everybody goes trust. I don't know. We can't trust the media. We can't trust our employers. We can't trust. So you must be a very busy man out there today, right?
Well, yeah, I'll tell you all the data, all the surveys, Pew and Edelman and other big national and global surveys have shown that all the big institutions, media, government, even nonprofits, trust in them has been going down consistently over the last 30 or 40 years, and there's been no sign of that changing. But people still need to trust, and so what's changed is who and how they trust, and how brands and people, podcasters, social media personalities, take your pick, how these relationships are formed. They're still out there, just a lot more fragmented than they used to be.
Sure. So what are some examples of trust signals that business owners should focus on right now, and how has that evolved in the age of AI?
Yeah, well, if you look at the term trust signals, it goes back to the first internet boom in the late 90s, because back then it was all new, and even the idea of putting in your credit card information into a website was scary.
That's right.
And so it was very important for things like a Better Business Bureau seal or a Norton Security seal. Having these on your website, it was shown in terms of conversion data, it made all the difference in whether people were just trusting you enough to give you their credit card. Now, obviously, it's a long time since then, but it's just trust signals today. It's the same concept. It's the points of communication you have online, either through you or third parties talking about you, where people learn about you, hopefully build a relationship of trust with you, and then will want to do business with you. So on your website, that I've got the Better Business seal right behind me. That's still important. We have that on our website. Lots of businesses, lots of small businesses. But it's also things like testimonials on your website, case studies, logos of your customers, if you're B2B, logos of maybe media sites that have written about you. All of those things are examples of trust signals on your website. And then when you go out there, things like articles that have been written about you, maybe you've been on a podcast, maybe you've been on your show.
There you go.
Customer reviews. These are all examples of trust signals out there that when someone finds it, they may say, oh, this is interesting. And then they come to your website to learn more and maybe ultimately want to do business with you.
That's right. Now, we've all been in situations where we'll go into a shop or a restaurant or what have you, and the owner of that establishment or the manager may say, hey, please give us a review or leave us a review. They might even have a card on the table that drives that customer to do just that, right? Those things are important to do, aren't they?
Critically important. I mean, if you talk about, we're primarily, my main firm over the last 20 years has been a company called Idea Grove, which is a PR firm. And when people come to us for PR services, they say, oh, we're looking for visibility. And I say, well, if you just want visibility, you can get those little targeted ads and just chase people around with them online all day, and you'll be visible. They'll hate you, but you'll be visible. What you really want is that combination of visibility with credibility and trust, and what you're trying to earn. So you might say, as a small business, oh, I can't compete with these big companies that can buy these commercials and have all this news coverage in big outlets. And how do I compete with that? How you compete with it is you start with the most important trust signal of all, which is your customers saying good things about you. And every small business can do that. So what you described, if you're not doing that, if you're not giving those QR codes or sending folks a text message afterward asking how you did, That's a huge missed opportunity, maybe one of the biggest missed opportunities that a lot of small
Yeah,
businesses have.
that's right. And I think a lot of business owners underestimate the importance of that. And maybe it's one of those things where it's like, well, it's free. What could it really be worth? I didn't, I'm just asking somebody to post something. But to your point, it's almost invaluable, because today, when everybody is now looking at reviews rather than some slick ad campaign, as you pointed out, I know my wife and I, before we go anywhere, we go on TripAdvisor to see what the real people have said about that particular resort or restaurant or what have you, and we really stick to those. If it's thumbs down across the board, we're not going there. And it doesn't matter what the brochure looks like or how fancy the website is, forget it. Conversely, if the website's not that great, but everybody says, wow, what a gem this particular resort is, you got to stay there, we're probably going to go.
Absolutely. And over half of reviews online today are Google reviews.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you Google your company's name, for example, you'll generally see a panel there with information on your company,
Yep.
name, address. You have an opportunity to own that and to add updates like social media posts that you can put there. But most importantly, you can solicit reviews, and the reviews can go there. And so today, a lot of people are like, well, how do I get people to recommend how do I get ChatGPT to recommend my business when I'm using, AI? Well, same principle. Basically, ChatGPT and other engines like that are looking at your PR. They're looking at your SEO, and they're looking at your reviews and determining what things to surface and where to put you.
That's
And
right.
so
Good point.
and compared to Google, which was always considered kind of a black box, like how do they decide who ranks first? And there's been a lot of guesswork as to that, and a lot of SEO firms and tools have made a lot of money off of that. ChatGPT is much more transparent. There are tools that will show you. You can look at all the sources that were used to determine whether they said, when I said, what's the top roofing company in Atlanta, did they include my company or not?
Wow.
And you look at the sources they used to decide how
great.
they were ranked.
Yeah.
What's great about that is you can reverse engineer that and say,
Yep.
oh, I'll give you an example. For us, one of the things that's helped us a lot as a PR firm is a lot of agencies. There's a review site called Clutch.
Mm-hmm.
It's a review site for consulting firms, agencies, things like that. We happen to, within Dallas and within B2B, appear well in there. And the data shows it is commonly used as a source, and it's a big reason why we've gotten referrals through ChatGPT. So if you, for example, have an agency or any business, and there's a review site that's specific to your industry, you can bet that ChatGPT is going to look at that when someone enters a prompt asking. So if you haven't done the free things like setting up your free profile, generally they'll let you solicit reviews for free. All that stuff's free. You don't have to pay for a sponsorship for that. It just takes a little legwork and takes a little effort, but it's well worth it.
Oh, but that is for sure. My next question was for small businesses that don't have big marketing budgets. What practical steps can they take to improve visibility across search and some of the local platforms? And that pretty much nails it right there, because I think a lot of small business owners think, to your point, I don't have those big, huge budgets that the competitors have or the big guys have out there, but that's not needed today, right? The most important thing is that organic review that somebody can leave. And that could be every one of your customers today that starts that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would think if you're a local business, for example, in addition to having those customer reviews, doing some SEO work to associate your location with what you do and get some backlinks and the things that Google looks at to make you visible in things like Google Maps when someone's searching for your business locally. Sure. Local SEO services like that don't have to cost a lot, though. Sometimes you can find them for $1,000 a month or something. A lot of businesses can afford that if it's going to make you more visible.
Sure.
But I would start with, so you've got, get your customer reviews, see if you can get more visible in things like Google Maps and local searches, but start with your website. That's what I think a lot of small businesses.
Yeah, that's true.
They just think, oh, I know people who are my customers, or my website is just, it's just a brochure. It's just, not that big. And they don't put a lot of time and effort into it. And what I tell people is it's the biggest single proxy for who people to judge who you are.
That's right.
But it is like, if you have a website that takes forever to load, that's going to associate in people's mind, consciously or unconsciously, with maybe having slow or poor customer service. If you have confusing navigation where people can't figure out how to get around on your site, they're going to think maybe you don't understand them. You don't understand your customer.
That's right.
If you don't update your site, if your last blog post is from 3 years ago, they're maybe thinking you're not keeping up with the innovation curve. So all of these things are signals about you.
That's right.
And sometimes you think, oh, I'm a plumber, I'm a this, I'm a that. I'm not a website. No, you're not a website developer, but that's a mechanism to tell your story as a plumber or as a roofer.
That's right.
Or as a or whatever you are, and you have to take advantage of that.
That's right. And there's a lot of great website companies out there. Maybe that's something that your company does for businesses as well. But there's specialists out there, just like you'd call a plumber to fix your toilet. That same plumber needs a specialist to help them in the area of their web design and social media. And there's great companies out there that can help small businesses do just that, right? I mean, maybe yours is one of those types of companies. Is that what you can help companies do?
Oh, yeah, we help companies with websites of all sizes, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I would just say that today there's just no lower limit to a budget. You can use these tools or CMSs like a Wix. Obviously, WordPress is very simple to use. It doesn't take a lot.
No.
And people worry about, oh, it's all AI. So what am I doing? I'm building a website and it all reads the same. It's all a bunch of AI slop, and none of it's real. No, that's why the time and effort you put to put your imprint on it in terms of what's the story you want to tell,
right.
What's important about you, what's different about you. Those things can really only come from you. And I if you really commit to that, the authenticity will come out. And that's even more important today than ever, because there's so much information out there.
That's right.
As a result of AI as well, that people just don't trust.
That's right. And everybody, I don't care what the product is, whether it be a restaurant or a plumber or furniture or homes or cars or whatever it is, they start right here and right here in these two screens, right? And if you're not represented well in those two areas, and every aspect of that buyer's journey, you're going to be left out. And I think too many small business owners underestimate the importance of this, because I've gone on myself to websites and be like, this doesn't give me all the information. I don't know where they're located. I don't know what, to your point, maybe there's some old content on there that hasn't been updated, or maybe just the overall design is very, very weak. Maybe there's an old logo on there that doesn't even match the logo that I thought I was doing business with, because they never changed it. So there's no question about it, Scott, that this is great advice for companies, that they need to do an audit and put themselves in the customer or the prospect's shoes to say, okay, I'm looking for this widget, or I'm looking for this service, and I'm going to set out on my journey right now online and see who's out there, who else is in this space. What do their websites look like? And what does yours look like in proportion or in direct competition to theirs? And if it doesn't hold water, you're in trouble, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing. Here's a quick shortcut you can take to see if a company takes this stuff seriously. When you go to the website, go to the bottom and see if it says copyright 2018 or something. because
exactly,
many companies that they don't up websites, they're like, oh, this is a hassle, I have to get it done.
That's right.
And they slap it up there. Maybe it's even good.
Yeah.
But then, oh, now I don't have to worry about it again.
And
it's 5 years later, and it's worse than if they hadn't done it at all.
That's right. I got another one for you, and that is that where it'll say click here with a little form fill that you want more information about that product or service or about that company, and then you fill it out as the business owner, and you put in there test, right? And nobody in your company gets that lead. And then you do the background on it, and you go, oh my gosh, that was attached to a salesperson that has left the company a year ago, which means that anybody that's been filling this out, waiting for information, it's going nowhere, right? And I can't tell you how many times that happens in business, and or sometimes even the phone number that's on that website is an old phone number, and nobody ever took the time to change it on the website. Or maybe it's just a wrong phone number. Maybe the last digit is wrong, and you're wondering, I never get any calls off my website. But
That's generally because the business owner considers it an obligation
right.
rather than a core part
That's right.
of what you need to do to be successful.
That's right.
That's the difference.
Yeah, exactly. It's like leaving your front door locked as a shop owner. It's saying, I wonder why nobody's walking into my store here. This is crazy. Because you came in the back door and you never checked to see if the front door was open. That's how silly it is. But in reality, and I couldn't agree with you more, Scott, that everybody's going to start out here. Do these audits, folks. If you're listening to us have this conversation, do these audits today and make sure that all of the contact information is there and everything else for your prospects to get a hold of you, your customers, even your existing customers, that they can go to the website and get everything that they need to. But then also on the side that Scott mentioned about the importance of reviews, check that out as well. And by the way, for first time, I shouldn't say first time, but for new entrepreneurs that are out there, you go, well, I don't have that many customers. I'm just starting out. Well, make a list of all of the friends and family that you have. I'll bet you can come up with 25 people right now that would probably leave you a really good review about your business, okay? They might not give you money to open up your store, but they'll definitely be willing to give you a good review about yourself, your concept, your idea, and maybe even your business if they've been a customer of yours. So immediately, you could have 25 positive reviews on there and change your digital footprint, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can look at different review sites and they have different rules. So in some cases, it's going to have to be someone who's been a paying customer and they can leave reviews. But Google's more lenient. You've got who are partners, vendors in the same building. Just any kind of relationship is usually enough for it to stick with Google. And so you're absolutely right. The other thing I would just throw in is generally, at least for businesses that have, say, more than 40 or 50 people, your Glassdoor reviews are very important. Glassdoor is known as being a review site for where employees can leave reviews about you,
right?
And that potential employees look at it when they're thinking about where they want to apply for a job.
That's right.
What a lot of people don't realize is that Glassdoor is extremely powerful as a domain, and so for a lot of brands, if you have a few reviews, that's going to pop up really high when someone's searching for your brand. And guess what? Not just employees or potential employees, but a lot of potential customers are curious about what your company is really like on the inside.
That's right.
And that too. So that's another opportunity you have. And Glassdoor encourages you to tell your employees to go leave a review and say what it's like and why it's a great place to work. Because as a customer, if I think the employees are happy, I think I'm probably going to have a good experience when I work with you. I point out, and some employers feel kind of shy about asking their employees to do this. Glassdoor adamantly encourages employers to do this. The reason is they know that there's a natural negative bias if they don't do it. In other words, if it's just random people leaving reviews, it's more likely to be someone who had a bad experience and has axe to grind, right?
That's right.
There you have lots of happy employees. They just have to be mobilized. And if you do that, then you can really get a vivid portrait of your company culture out there that can be really appealing to potential customers.
That's right. Some of those customers, if you are a consultant or an engineer or whoever, and they're really big contracts, and you can be sure that they're going to check out places like Glassdoor because, your brochure might be great and your pitch might have been great, but that Glassdoor review is going to be kind of the tell-all about what's happening on, inside your company among your team. So while you're out pitching that, oh no, we've got a great culture and we love our people and they love us, and then they go and find a completely different story among 20 or 30 different negative reviews, they go, no, I'm sticking with that. I'm not so sure that what you're telling me is true. So so check that out as well. And to your point, get those positive reviews on there. But Scott, any final thoughts that you want to leave our entrepreneurial community and small business owners with today about this?
Well, there's a lot of worry and concern about AI. How do I use it? Is it going to a business? I think AI is a huge opportunity for small businesses because it's going to allow you, if you're smart and if you're curious and if you're exploring and you're trying to put ideas out there, it's going to level the playing field with bigger companies and bigger players, because you don't need to have that big staff to mobilize and put a plan into action. You just have to have a great idea. So I would encourage people to not be discouraged about AI, but to really look at the ways that you can leverage that to grow your business.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Scott. There's no question about it. It's an incredible tool. These are exciting times to live in. For those of you that have held off on AI, it's time to embrace it. It's time to get to know it, you know how to use it. I use it all the time. I can write some beautiful business letters using ChatGPT, which I think people are on to me. I think they know. They're like, wow, that's a really well-written letter, Jim. That's exactly right.
Don't use the M-dash. That's the thing that they get you in trouble for. They think, oh, it's all an M-dash. It must be ChatGPT.
That's exactly right. You do have to go through and check it and edit it a little bit, but for the most part, they make us look pretty good out there. So. Scott Baradell, who's founder of Trust Signals Marketing. He's author of Trust Signals, Brand Building in a Post-Truth World, which I love that term. So thank you so much, Scott, for joining us on the show. For those of you that are watching this right now and you need a Scott in your corner, or you need Scott in your corner, give him a call and see if he can help you. But this is one of those areas that, it's funny, as small business owners, you run out and you go, hey, I need a good accountant, a good CPA, and I got a great attorney that's going to help me, stay legal and stay compliant and everything else. But when it comes to marketing, who's in your corner? Who's handling with your PR? Who's helping you with all of these things? That is so vitally important. Don't go into business today unless you've addressed that in one fashion or another. And that Scott does it all day long with clients. So Scott, thanks again. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, absolutely.
Thanks for watching another edition of the Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick, exclusively on ASBN.com.